Hello, everyone, and welcome to a solo edition of This Week in Geek. It's episode 97. My name is Ren. I am not joined by my co-host, Zach Pope, today. He wasn't available today. He can tell you why whenever the time comes. It's his story to tell. So without any further ado, let's get back to it because we have not had a show in 2 weeks after a long and unnecessary hiatus. So I'm glad we're here today. I'm glad I'm here today because I love doing this show with Zach, of course, but there is fun in doing a solo show every now and then. And also, big news just happened to drop this week. They'll get into that in our main topic before we go into your questions, but after we get into our very beloved weekly ranking. It's always one of our favorite segments in the show. We love all the segments in the show, really. So if you're new here and you don't know how weekly ranking works, it's basically me, in case whenever Zach is here, we go through our viewings this past week and we rank it from worst to best. Then we highlight some of yours in the live chat as well. So feel free to add your weekly rankings to the live chat. Then we go into the main topic, the one that's on the thumbnail, on the title. And then we go into your questions, which you can leave on the community tab on my channel on the post with a picture of the thumbnail for this video where it asks for your questions. Or if you want to ask great questions and actively support the show and the channel as well, we have a tip link in description, or you can use the super chat feature. We appreciate your questions regardless of how you send them. So without any further ado, I haven't watched much this week. At least I haven't watched much in terms of movies. I've been watching a lot of TV. I watched 2 movies this week. You all know both of the movies that I watched this week because I post about them whenever I go watch them. I post them on Instagram, on my Twitter. All my links are in descriptions. Zach's links are in description, singular, not descriptions, one description. So this week started with me watching Gladiator 2. The review is coming out on Monday at 2 p.m. GMT. I don't know what time that is everywhere else, but it's coming at this time. At this time we started the show, that's when my review for Gladiator 2 drops on Monday. I cannot rank it because the review has been embargoed, but I do have a social reaction on Twitter. All I can say for now is that Gladiator 2 is quite good. So let's go into the proper ranking. And in last place, I am going to have the one, the only, and correct me in the live chat if I'm wrong, but I don't believe you guys have this film out in the States yet. We have it out since Wednesday, so it came out the day after the press screening, and that is Red 1, the Christmas movie. With Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Chris Evans, and J.K. Simmons. Lucy Liu is also in it. Quite a few strange cast members, as in people you wouldn't expect. But it's a fun enough movie. I totally understand everyone who hates it. I took a friend with mine because I had a +1 for the screening. He hated it. He literally went because he was free that night, so might as well watch a movie, hang out with some friends, and I'm so happy I took him. But he hated it, and most people I've talked to hated it. I don't hate this film. I don't think it's good, but I can't hate a film that is so harmless and so plays it so insanely safe that I just can't be hurt, for lack of a better term, by this film. So this is not a recommendation. Yes, today it is just me, as I explained, as Zach is not available. He'll explain why to everyone when he comes back next week, because we are having a show next week. Don't worry. It's going to be at the same time, so we're going to have this hour early start. But then after that, I think we go back to normal, and then we might have to pause on the Saturday after that because I will be moving houses. So this set is going to disappear Well, the set might end up looking the same depending on the infrastructure of my room in the next place, but whatever. We'll get to that when we'll get to that. So on top of Red One, I have Disclaimer. This is the Apple Plus show from Alfonso Cuarón with Kate, not Beckinsale, Blanchett, Sacha Baron Cohen, Kevin Kline, Leslie Manville. Great, great cast. It's a really, really well done show. Gorgeously shot. Obviously, nobody's surprised to hear that. Um, it is a show that I'm still trying to figure out because it is playing excuse me, it is playing a mystery on both ends. So it's playing every bit of its drama like a mystery. And so because you can't attach to anyone quite because you just don't know what is going on, and it is slowly developing well. I'm 3 episodes in. I'm halfway through episode 4 right now. And it's a show that is developing really well. But at first, it leaves you at an arm's distance, and you're just trying to figure out the show, and not in a way that the show engages with you. You want to figure it out because it's keeping you so far apart, even though it wants to tell you a story. So it's a show that's growing on me as I keep watching, but just know if the first episode doesn't work for you, I was there as well. And on top of that, my friends, there's a Dragon Ball show out. Of course, I'm going to love the Dragon Ball show that is out. I love Dragon Ball Daima right now. I think every episode is just missing one extra scene to engage us into the next episode, to tell this little story in 20 minutes and then introduce us to, and here's the next chapter. And it's not doing that quite well. I'm not sure how many episodes this is supposed to have, but I believe it's 10 episodes and we're 5 episodes in. And so far, they have resolved nothing. The only thing they've really developed is a relationship between Goku and Shin and Glorio throughout these first 5 episodes, essentially. And the other Z fighters aren't even in the show. They're on Earth, just waiting for a vehicle so they can go into the demon world. And so it is very strange. So, but like I said, I think the show is 10 episodes. If it is, and we're halfway through the ending, I don't know that I'm going to be fully satisfied. But if it is a longer show, like, I don't know, let's say 25 episodes, which is more or less a regular season of anime's episode length, episode count. If it is like 25 episodes, we're good. We're doing okay. I just wasn't prepared for that because I'm watching this show and I'm going to research it right now on Google. But so far, up till this moment, in my mind, I'm like, we're only getting 10 episodes of Dragon Ball Daima. So let me just quickly search Dragon Ball Daima, how many episodes? Okay, it's going to be a 20 episode run. That's still okay. I think we need to get the Z Fighters into the rest of the Z Fighters, that is, into the story by episode 8. I don't want to have the rest of the Z Fighters like just in half of the show. And we're already a quarter through the show. So if you want to watch this, if you don't have Crunchyroll, it's also on Netflix apparently, but Netflix is a week behind. So yesterday, episode 5 came out. Netflix released episode 4. So just so you know, watch it however you want to watch it. I'm watching it on Crunchyroll because it's the best place to watch anime and have an infinite amount of anime to watch. All right. Gico EP, one of our moderators, is here. Before I highlight, and I don't know how wise this is to do because who the fuck am I to do this? But you all know, whoever's watching, whoever will end up watching, whoever will end up listening to the show, this is not a show about politics or anything, especially because I'm not American, even though I sound like one. No, not like one. My accent sounds American. You know what I mean. Uh, I hope you guys are doing okay. I hope this show can be a reprieve from all the tension and the vitriol that's out there. You are welcome here, regardless of who you are. If you're being marginalized in any way, if you're being attacked online, whatever, you are in a safe space here. And I want to do my best, the best we can, to put a smile on your face for however long we can. In case of our show, it's 90 minutes. So whoever's watching right now, welcome. And let's get into your weekly rankings. And I need to turn my fan on because it is cold out in London, but it's quite warm in here. I only need the minimum on this. That's it. A nice little breeze. All right. We only have one weekly ranking thus far. I will highlight others if and when they come in. We start with our friend Deminician Scott. Weekly ranking. Number 3, The Batman, which I haven't rewatched in a while. I'm going to be rewatching it soon around Christmas season because I am behind on The Penguin. I've started The Penguin, but I've only watched the first episode for some reason. And I want to rewatch The Batman because I want to show it to my dad because he hasn't seen it. I know he's going to love it. I know he's going to love Penguin, but he has to watch The Batman before watching The Penguin. Number 2, Justice League, the animated series, one of the greatest superhero TV shows of all time. Number 1, X-Men, the animated series, also one of the greatest superhero animated shows of all time. Better than Justice League, if you ask me, so I do agree with your ranking. Hello, Luis Feliciano. Welcome, everyone, to the show. All right. Oh, shit. Never mind. This has nothing to do with the show. I just realized something outside of the show. All right, everyone. Feel free, as you come into the show, drop your weekly rankings. This is not how we usually do it, but because there's only one so far, it's only me today. I will highlight them throughout the show, but as of right now, we're going to move on to our main topic of this week's show. And that is that Simon Kinberg, along with a group of experts on the subject matter, is going to be writing and I believe producing. He's got to be producing unless he gets dropped off the project and he's not writing nor producing. But Simon Kinberg will be writing the Star Wars sequel trilogy. What are we calling this? Drop your suggestions in the live chat. Drop your suggestions in the comments if you're watching the replay, or let us know your suggestions on the comment section on Spotify, because apparently Spotify now has a comment section. So yes, Simon Kinberg. And immediately, when you combine the name of Simon Kinberg in 2024 with Star Wars in 2024, it does not get the reception that it would have gotten, I don't know, when Star Wars The Force Awakens was announced, or even when Star Wars The Last Jedi was announced. By the way, The Last Jedi, still a fucking amazing movie. So let's just, before I even start to share my personal thoughts on this, let's take a look at Simon Kinberg's filmography, shall we? Specifically, his writing credits. We're not going to take a look at his directing credits, because I can tell you those without ever researching it. It is Dark Phoenix, and it is The 355. So let's just see for writers. This man, he wrote his first film, as far as we know at least, in 2005. The first film that he the first film that he wrote was Triple X, State of the Union, the one starring Ice Cube. So we're off to a rough start. But then he wrote Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and that is quite a fun movie, extremely flawed, tonally inappropriate. The fact that this league of secret badass spy women called their boss Daddy. You did that on purpose, Simon Kinberg, and you know you did. But then he went on from then I promise the road gets better, but so far it's a very rocky road because we go from State of the Union to Mr. and Mrs. Smith to X-Men The Last Stand, and I've spoken plenty about that, to Jumper. But then we go to Sherlock Holmes, and then we go to X-Men First Class. I've never seen This Means War. Everyone I know... Oh, wait. No, he did not write X-Men First Class, so let's scratch that off his record. For better or for worse, definitely, he's definitely worse off for not writing X-Men First Class. I've never seen This Means War, which he wrote. Everyone I ever heard talk about that movie says it's shit. For the record, my co-host, who I love very much, Zach Pope, he loves that movie. I've just never seen it. But then he wrote... No, he did not write Elysium. I was about to say he wrote Elysium, which is a movie apparently everyone hates, but I really fucking love. But he did write X-Men Days of Future Past. And that immediately weighs so much on the scale, it almost balances everything out. Almost. Because he went from X-Men Days of Future Past, and this is painful to even look at, to Fant Four Stick. We're not going to waste any more time talking about that. He then went from Fant Four Stick to X-Men Apocalypse. Again, most people dislike this film. I happen to enjoy it. I'm not going to say I'm a defender of the film, and I'm going to say I love it, but I think it's a good film. I give him a pass on that one. I'm not saying that's like, oh, you wrote X-Men Apocalypse? Fuck yes, you should write every movie ever. I'm not saying that. I'm saying personally, I give him a pass for X-Men Apocalypse. But then he went from X-Men Apocalypse to Dark Phoenix. Oh, hang on. I lost the page quickly. And then he went from Dark Phoenix to the 355. And then he went from the 355 to this year's The Killer's Game. Look, I think The Killer's Game is a fun enough movie. I was excited for it just because I love these silly, over-the-top, heightened reality, violent action movies. And it stars Dave Bautista, and one of my favorite WWE superstars is gonna be in it. And he has a really cool fucking death in it. Terry Crews is awesome. Mantis is in it. Ben Kingsley is in it. Sophia Boutella is in it. And the movie is somehow better than both Rebel Moons combined. But I'm not giving Simon Kinberg a pass for this one. So if you want to look at Simon Kinberg as a writer, he's done... When he hits, he really fucking hits. When he makes good shit, it's really great shit. When it's bad shit, it's really bad shit. But he is also producing. I know we don't usually talk about the producers or highlight the work of a producer, but honestly, Simon Kinberg is a great producer. Jumper, for all the faults that it has, I think it's a fun enough movie, and it's an incredible production that he acquired for it. X-Men First Class. Again, I haven't seen This Means War. Elysium is an incredible production. X-Men Days of Future Past. The less said about Let's Be Cops, the best. Fant Four Stick was not a great production, clearly. Disney's live-action remake of Cinderella. He was an executive producer in that. He was a proper producer, not just an executive producer, a proper producer. Chappie, which I like more than most people, but I get why people are like, that didn't work. But like, as a production, it's incredible. The Martian, Deadpool, X-Men Apocalypse, Logan, Murder on the Orient Express, Deadpool 2, Dark Phoenix, The New Mutants, The 355, A Haunting in Venice. Did you see this year's Lift, the Netflix movie starring Kevin Hart? Did you not? Don't watch it. It's fucking awful. He also executive produced Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Not a good movie. Great production. Death on the Nile. Not a good movie. Great production. Where nobody was eaten. So immediately tells you he's a good producer. He made sure Armie Hammer did not eat anyone. And then he obviously executive produced Deadpool and Wolverine. And we have a super chat. Thank you so much, Luis Feliciano. Hello, Ren. Welcome back. Welcome back yourselves. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for being here after the outside of my control hiatus that I did not have fun in. But I'm glad to be back with you guys. So, as a producer, he is great. As a writer, he can be great. So, I understand if we're very, I don't know that I trust this guy to write a Star Wars trilogy. At the same time, this guy has historically struck gold several times. Unfortunately, even though we just discussed two facets of Simon Kinberg as a filmmaking professional, he is only one part of this equation. Because we are, unfortunately, in 2024. We have not had a Star Wars movie since 2019. And that last Star Wars movie that we got in 2019 was The Rise of Skywalker. And look, I didn't hate the film because it had women in it. I didn't hate the film because it had black people in it. So all of us who have valid issues with that movie, we have plenty of valid problems in that film outside of those stupid things. And Star Wars, since then, had a little bit of a resurgence. We have Andor. We have Mando Season 1, Mando Season 2. We have Ahsoka. We also have Boba Fett. We also have Mando Season 3. Did we get anything else? Star Wars TV series? What? I'm pretty sure we got something else, and I'm blanking on it. Star Wars TV shows. We had The Acolyte. We had The Bad Batch. I like Obi-Wan Kenobi, don't get me wrong, but was Obi-Wan Kenobi as good as it should, as it could have been? Unfortunately, it was not. We had the Return of the Clone Wars. Let's give credit there because it deserves it. Tales of the Jedi is a pretty fun show. It can be a pretty fun show. Visions, the same thing. But this is a brand that has become immensely inconsistent. And for the past 5 years, going on 6 years by the time the next Star Wars movie comes out, that's not even the one Simon Kinberg is working on. This is a brand that is now just on television. And it has become immensely inconsistent quality-wise, on top of a problem that already existed before all of this, which was Star Wars announces a director, and then that director drops off. They announce a new project, and they bring aboard this awesome writer, and the writer drops off, and the project is dead. But then in comes Patty Jenkins, as she's gonna do the Rogue Squadron. It's dead. It's not happening. And then in comes Stephen, what's his name? He wrote Taboo, and he just wrote Stephen Knight. Yeah, it's Stephen Knight. He just wrote something that I really liked when I saw it. Not Stephen King, Knight. The one who serves the king. Stephen Knight. There he is. Oh, I thought it was with a PH. Obviously, the writer of Peaky Blinders, the writer of Locke. He wrote Serenity, too, one of Zach's favorite films. Yes, he wrote Maria, the new Pablo Larraín film, which is a great fucking movie. If you haven't seen it yet. And he drops off. Now, last year, when it was Star Wars Celebration, I was there. They announced quite a few projects, and quite a few projects that over a year and a half later still seem to be ongoing. So the Rey movie is coming. The Mando movie is coming. It has a release date. I believe they're either shooting right now or they finished shooting recently, something like that. And we're going to have James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie. All of those seem to be coming. Awesome. Great. I'm happy they're coming. I'm happy we're back on track. We seem to be back on track with this brand. But we're now in a place where, okay, these three are still coming out. Over a year and a half later, they have not been thrown away. They have not been canceled, discarded. The writers, the directors, they have not walked away. Okay, great. And now you announce this, but you announce this with one of the quality-wise most inconsistent writers and producers in Hollywood for the past 20 years that, yes, has given us great things, especially in the franchise realm. But you announce it before these three elements that are very promising, the Mando movie, the Dawn of the Jedi movie, the Rey movie, and you announce this new trilogy before these are out. Right? It's looking good for those three projects. It's looking good for Star Wars as a whole. But we don't have that confidence yet because they haven't actually come out yet. Let's just say, for example, if the Mando movie, which I believe is going to be the first one of the three to come out, if the Mando movie comes out, and especially if it's great, then you announce a new Star Wars trilogy. You know why? Because also, the Mando movie is going to be the conclusion of this saga of TV shows that then connect to the sequel trilogy, because this story happens between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. So now you move on to this new place after that, where you have the Mando movie, and then you announce a new trilogy that's going to come out after the Rey Solo film. That is a great strategy. And look, this is not to say the trilogy is not going to happen. Simon Kinberg is going to make it suck. He's going to write 3 bad movies, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that. But we are all, as Star Wars fans, including the toxic ones, let's be fair, we are all in a place where we don't trust the brand. And we have reasons not to trust the brand. Some people find other idiotic reasons to complain about it, but we have legitimate reasons not to trust the brand. So it's a lot of just uncertainty. I'm not put off by this announcement. I'm not put off by this combination of Simon Kinberg and Star Wars, but because of the inherent baggage that both these variables bring, I can't get excited. I'm hopeful. I want to be proven wrong. I want them to give me reasons, throw shit in my face that shows me, get fucking excited for this new trilogy. Get fucking excited for Simon Kinberg. I just don't see anything for it right now. The concept, okay, interesting. Show me that I can trust the brand. Show me that I can trust that I can actually see this, for better or worse. At this point, yes, bring Simon Kinberg aboard. At this point, bring anyone aboard, just as long as you actually give me the new Star Wars trilogy, new Star Wars movies. What an incredible concept that we haven't had Star Wars movies in 5 years. Going on 6 by the time the Mando movie comes out. So, what does this all boil down to? I don't know. I feel like I made good points, but at the same time, I feel like I rambled those points out. And this is just the way I see it. It is just a still very vague situation. Yeah, cool. You announced 3 projects. You announced this person that is involved in it, along with a group of experts. And I hope you get fucking good experts for that. I just need to see it happen. At this point with Star Wars, that's just where I'm at. Movie-wise. If they announce a TV show, yeah, sure, I believe it's going to happen because I've seen it happen, for better or worse, as we've discussed. So we'll see. I hope you guys are more excited than me. I want to know what you think of this combination between Simon Kinberg and Star Wars. Do you think he can do a great job? Do you think it's a guarantee he'll do a bad job? Anything and everything, drop it in the live chat. Drop it in the comments if you're listening or watching the repeat on YouTube, on Spotify. And now I think it's time, after I take a sip of my water, for us to go into your questions. But before, we're going to stop by Geek OEP's weekly ranking. And he starts us off with number 11, Casper from 1995, which is a film I've never seen in full. And I'm guessing this is a Halloween leftover, kind of. Can't believe it's only been 1 week since Halloween. It feels so much longer ago. Number 10, 17 again, underrated film. Number 9, Idiocracy. Number 8, The Cable Guy. Number 7, Agatha All Along. It was a really good show. I can't believe Agatha was such a good show. Number 6, Monster House. Number 5, The Substance. Such a good movie. Guys, if you have not seen The Substance, watch it. It's so fucking good. It runs a little bit long. As in, it's not that it has anything that you would take out, but you would just kind of shortcut a few scenes in the middle, in the bulk of it, because you start to feel the runtime. Number 4, The Penguin, episode 7. Number 3, Michael Clayton, which I've never seen. Number 2, True Romance. And number 1, John Carpenter's The Thing, which I can't disagree with. That's definitely the number 1 on that list. That's my third favorite horror film of all time. And it's still a banger. We were just talking about the prequel last week with Zach, because Zach hasn't seen the prequel. All right. Let's go into my community tab and let's get into your questions. All right, we got 10 questions to go. Keep adding them on the community tab, guys. And we're going to start with Devin Scott in honor of Tony Todd. Rest in peace. What were your favorite roles of him? Last night for me, we got the news that Tony Todd had sadly passed away. And that is a real shame. He was 69. For some reason, I thought he was older. He was like in his late 70s, if not his early 80s, just because of how long he'd been around. And he kind of always looked the same. He was such a great actor. He did such a great job as Venom in the Spider-Man games. He had such a unique voice. He did a great job as he was the voice of Zoom in The Flash season 2. That was fantastic. Even if you don't like The Flash, just search for the sequences with like Zoom speaking with the voice of Tony Todd. It's such a great combo. To me, obviously all those that I mentioned, and as much as I've never been a fan of the original Candyman, he has always been Candyman to me. However, for me, the number 1 role he has always had is as Death. And it has never been confirmed that he plays Death or the Grim Reaper himself. But in the Final Destination movies, he shows up, always understanding what is going on, giving our characters a little bit of exposition. I always read it as this guy is Death, and he's going to come at these people in full force throughout the film. So he has always been that presence, and we're about to get a new Final Destination movie next year. Hopefully, he shot his bit in, because he always just has like 1, maybe 2 bits in those films. So hopefully they managed to get him before this unfortunate passing. It's just really sad. Because like I said, I thought he was older, but the fact that he was just 69, it's too young. Rest in peace, Tony Todd. We'll always remember you. And that iconic voice, of course. WC Scott, do you truly believe that a Simon Kinberg Star Wars film trilogy is going to happen? I know you haven't had a new movie since Rise of Skywalker. Well, basically everything I just said. I don't know. I wanted to, because at this point, I just want anything Star Wars movies, because we're starved of Star Wars movies. We've been starved of Star Wars movies for 5 years. Eric Thorpe. We'll get back to it. Don't worry. So yeah, I don't know, but I hope so. Hope is the last to die. Eric Thorpe reviews with his weekly ranking. Number 1, The Penguin. Number 3, Goldeneye. Number 3, Lost. Number 4, Agatha All Along. Number 8, Venom, The Last Dance. And number 6, House on Haunted Hill. Is this the movie that's based on the same book that Haunting of Hill House was based? Is this the one with like Liam Neeson and Owen Wilson and 2 other people that I can't remember? Let me know if it's that one. If it's not, oh well, I'm stupid. All right. Andrew Seif, what are your thoughts on Zendaya and Anne Hathaway being cast in Christopher Nolan's next film? Amazing. He's putting together an incredible cast, and we still don't know what the movie is about. That's what lets you know that Christopher Nolan is a great fucking filmmaker, that we're all excited for his new movie. We have no idea what it is about. We don't care. It's Christopher Nolan. He's going to make a fucking banger of a film. So I'm very excited. I was a little sad because a report came out that along with Anne Hathaway, that Lupita Nyong'o had also joined, but Lupita Nyong'o bit was an error, a mistake. Sadly, I would love to see Lupita Nyong'o work with Christopher Nolan, and now Tom Holland and Zendaya are both going to be in 2 movies in the summer of 2026. One of them, massive, big, gigantic, fan favorite blockbuster. The other one, big, massive, fan favorite prestige, probably a drama that's going for Oscars contention. So the kids are doing fine. The kids are doing all right, in the words of The Offspring. Andrew Seif, what are your thoughts on what's been happening in WWE lately? Favorite matches, wrestlers, storylines, feuds? That is just too... I mean, my favorite wrestlers don't change that quick. Loving where the Bloodline storyline is going for War Games. Cody is still the best. I don't think he should have won that way at Crown Jewel. I would have been happy to give Gunther that title, because that title really doesn't mean shit. I'm loving what Kevin Owens is doing with his heel turn. Just generally speaking, there's nothing I dislike at the moment that's going on in WWE. There's matches, there's characters that I'm not quite invested in, but I'm not seeing anything that's bad. NXT is consistently, week in, week out, the best wrestling TV show on the planet. It has been throughout this year. So I hope they keep at it. All right. Jacoby P. Let me see if we have any new weekly rank. We don't. All right. Do you think the spoof genre should come back, especially the announcement of the Wayans? Oh, God. Okay. The Wayans brothers coming back to Scary Movie franchise with an upcoming 6th installment, especially after Friedberg and Seltzer basically ruined the genre with crap like Disaster Movie, Epic Movie, Meet the Spartans. Plus, the Wayans haven't made anything funny in years. Exactly. Haunted House 1 and 2, 50 Shades of Black. You have the quintuplets or the sextuplets or whatever the fuck they were called. You have the Naked Movie. There's another one that he made. I can't be excited for a Scream Movie 6 because forget the Friedberg and Seltzer of it all. Even take those out of the equation. The Wayans have not done anything funny in over a decade. Let's just research Marlon Wayans. What has he been up to? Besides being in Air. He was great in Air, and Air was a great fucking movie. Oh, God, that movie was so good. So fucking good. Yeah, he did The Curse of Bridge Hollow as well. He was in Respect, but that has nothing to do with him. He wasn't in the Sextuplets. See, the sex. Funny. Naked. Yeah, the movie was just called Naked. So really twisted your brain on that one. 50 Shades of Black. You get Haunted House. I didn't remember he was in The Heat. A Haunted House in 2013. Yeah, he was also in Marmaduke. He was the voice of Lightning, whoever that is. He was in G.I. Joe. Like, he hasn't made anything funny in over a decade. I can't get excited. I was just talking to a friend of mine, the one I took to see Red One with me this week. And we saw the announcement, we were together, and we were like, yeah, this is not gonna work. Like, I have never finished Scream Movie 5. I've seen did I say Scream 5? Scary Movie 5. Never finished that. Seen Scary Movie 1 1,000 times. Scary Movie 2 is the best one out of them all. Argue with the wall if you want to say otherwise. Uh, Scary Movie 3, Scary Movie 4. I've seen all of them in their entirety, regardless of how good or bad they all are. Scary Movie 5, I had to turn it off. I don't know how far I made it, but I didn't make it too far. All I remember from that film was one of the things it was spoofing was spoofing. One of the things it was spoofing was the Paranormal Activity movies, and it stars Ashley Tisdale. I don't remember anything else. Gun to my head, I don't remember anything else. So it's like the Star Wars thing. Like, give me reasons to be excited. I want to be excited. Prove my cynicism wrong. I want to be proven wrong. I want to be excited for shit. But right now, there's no reason for me to be excited. Not saying there's no reason for anyone to be excited. If you are excited, if you see positives in it, awesome. Do not let me yuck on your yum. I'm just personally indifferent to it all right now. And if the movie was to come out tomorrow with us knowing everything that we know at the moment, I wouldn't bother with it. I maybe would be interested in checking it out when it comes to streaming, depending on what friends of mine say, but I'm not going to be excited for it in any way. Unless a trailer, a casting, an idea, the test screw, whatever. If I get given reasons to be excited, I will get excited. Andrew Steve, when the X-Men get introduced in the MCU, how should they approach it? Would you only have team up movies, or would you like to individual characters get solo movie series? And who would you like to see on the starting lineup? I'm going to give you an unpopular opinion. And I say unpopular opinion because I see nobody suggesting this. And to be fair, I don't see anybody suggesting this because it's a big lineup. So it's tough to coordinate all these stars and actors and all that. But to me, you do the lineup you do in the animated series. I'm not even saying do the version of X-Men 97. Do the version of X-Men the animated series. It's Cyclops, it's Jean Grey, it's Beast, it's Rogue, it's Gambit, it's Storm, it's Wolverine, and it's Jubilee. And obviously Professor X and Magneto. That's the lineup. You have 8. You have a team of 8 because not only do you have a team of veterans, you have a team of newbies, you have a mix of it all, you have a mix of generations there, and that helps it feel like a lived-in world. How should they approach it? I would introduce the notion of mutants once Secret Wars is done and every universe comes together to just create one universe. And now there's all these new things and all these new people, and wait a minute, mutants, and they're now a thing. Do I think that's what they're going to do? In a way, yes, but mutants are already a thing in the MCU because Kamala Khan exists. So I don't know how they're going to tweak it with those little details. Would I only have team-up movies? That's the thing with X-Men. I don't call them team-up movies because X-Men is inherently a team. If you want an X-Men movie, yes, it's going to be a team-up movie, but the the point, the message, the ethos of any X-Men story is the fact that they are outsiders. They are the other. They are what society fears just because it's something new. It's something different. It's something they don't understand, nor do they care to understand. So they just attack, attack, attack. And when you're a victim of oppression and of malice and vitriol just because you fucking exist, I don't think it would be the best story to say, and this person is alone, but they're gonna come up on the top just because they're good people. Because unfortunately, that doesn't fucking happen. You want a story where the other finds a community of their own, and that's what every X-Men story is about. X-Men the animated series made it clear, X-Men 97 made it clear. I think it's on Kevin Feige to really not fuck this up. Any story of the X-Men in the MCU needs to make that very clear. So yeah, I'm sure you can spin it off with like having a Wolverine show or a movie, just like they did with Hugh Jackman, because Wolverine is naturally a loner. He's his own worst enemy. You can do a backstory, you can do a mini series after the first movie, or maybe even the first trilogy comes out, and you do a show that's the story of Charles Xavier and Magneto, and how eventually they ended up friends, and how eventually they ended up drifting apart because of their shared and yet different dream for their kind on Earth. So, yes, you can do individual character solo movies, series spin-offs. Start with the X-Men. See what the people are, see what could work after that, which characters work well, which actors work well. Get creative with it. Absolutely. Do a show where Charles Xavier goes to space just like he did in the animated series, and he is surrounded by the Shi'ar Empire. And then by the end of the show, he has to come back because the second X-Men movie is coming out. Something like that. But be creative. I'm sure they can find ways to make good shows or movies based on individual X-Men characters without feeling like, oh, we're just giving every one of these characters a show or a movie. Like, you shouldn't do that, but there's a lot of potential to be had. I know we want to keep Geek EP. I know we want to keep politics out of it, but after recent events, what are some movies you feel have started to age very well at the moment? You guys haven't seen it yet, but well, it's not necessarily that it ages well because it's accurate to real life. Unfortunately, it's not accurate to real life. But just wait till Gladiator 2 comes out, guys. Because Ridley Scott has got to be one of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet. Gladiator 2, obviously, I'm not spoiling anything. This is essentially what I said in one of my reaction tweets. This is a movie about the essence of democracy as a concept, as something to keep a people thriving and structured, having a society that functions, and how self-serving, petulant, selfish governments that are only there to serve their own self-interests inevitably crumble to the ground. That's what Gladiator 2 is about. If you look back, that's a little bit of what Gladiator is about. It's history repeating itself because we're not fucking learning from it. I don't have any others off the top of my head. Look. How should we put this? It's no coincidence that a movie titled Civil War came out this year and it ruffled so many feathers. And a lot of people were ruffled because they were like, wow, this brother, it's happening in front of your eyes. It's also not a coincidence that 3 movies this year alone came out about how a woman has her autonomy over her body taken away only to carry the product of someone else's desire. It's also not a coincidence that at least like 4 movies this year are about the relationships between an older woman that finally explores her sexual autonomy and agency with a younger male partner. Not to say I don't know that this actually accurately answers the question, GKOP, because I don't know that I would say these movies are aging very well. These are just movies that the more the year has gone on, it's like, these movies are telling us something, and are telling us something that, holy shit, has been happening in front of our eyes all along the fucking way. There are more coincidences. Not to say that every single one of those movies that I just mentioned are top 10 of the year, and if you don't watch it, you suck. I'm not even saying all those movies are good. Some of them aren't, but there is a pattern, and there is a pattern for a reason. Movies are the analysis of the human condition. Here's the fucking human condition being analyzed. Can we please do fucking something about it? And people said, no, we're going to walk the other way. Oh well. I'm going to move on just before. Well, the monologue on Barbie, the song on Barbie. Yeah. I'm getting a little bit too fired up. GGOP also asks, thoughts on the Joker series focusing on Barry Keoghan version from The Batman? No. It's same thing with Simon Kinberg, same thing with the Scary Movie 6. We have seen half a minute of Barry Keoghan as the Joker. Can we please slow the fuck down? Can we please have a Batman 2 before we dive into this? Because I don't even need I don't think I need a Joker show regardless. But especially without seeing what does this Joker have to offer that's different. Because, look, didn't care for the Joker 2. I'm one of the few people that enjoys, that likes... no, I didn't like the first Joker. I am one of the people that likes second Joker. Joker 2, Fully Ado, good. I'm not a defender of it. It's not one of the greatest movies of the year. It's not a great movie even. It's not a really good movie. It's good. It's solid. It just gets enough grades to pass. And we just got that. And look at the vitriol that sequel caused. It's like, guys, it's not that interesting of a film for us to be arguing this strongly. Like, it's not that interesting for you to hate it that much. Like, we're talking about Todd Phillips. This man has no auteur. Like, what are we talking about? Like, come on. So a Barry Keoghan version to the point where I don't even know that we need a Joker in this universe so quickly. I don't even know that Barry Keoghan, as great of an actor as he is, don't get me wrong, I'm still not convinced he's a great choice for the Joker. He is an obvious choice. He's going to do a good job, but it's like when people say complain about movies being safe. I don't think that's necessarily a problem with movies. I don't think that's necessarily a problem with actors, but Barry Keoghan's casting as Joker, that's how it hits me. So if we were going for a vote, if I was in a room right now in Warner Brothers' office, first of all, I would punch David Zaslav in the face. After that, I would vote against doing this. So yeah. All right, we only got 2 more questions, so I'm going to refresh. Okay, we got more questions now. Cool. Thank you, guys. Okay, GGOP. I've seen people in the film community using this term called the 4 horsemen in film, where they pick certain actors where they pick certain actors where when a certain actor in the movie, it's usually a bad sign. That's not true. Names like Dwayne Johnson. Jungle Cruise, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, Jumanji The Next Level, Snitch, Faster. I haven't seen The Smashing Machine, so I can't. The Rock movies. I'm just gonna get given the Michael Bay movie. Moana. Fine, you guys don't like Black Adam. I won't say Black Adam. I like Black Adam. Free Guy. Fast 5, Fast 6, Fast 7. None of the other ones. After Hobbs and Shaw though is really good. Fighting with My Family. Central Intelligence is pretty. How do we feel about the Central? I don't know how people. I don't know what the consensus is on Central Intelligence, to be honest. Do we like Central Intelligence, generally speaking? Let me know. Yeah, he has done Pain and Gain. He has done very good movies, guys. Kevin Hart, I'm inclined to agree most of the time. He's also in the Jumanji. He's also in Central Intelligence. Like, he can be in good movies, but the average does balance the other way around. Gal Gadot, same thing. Not true. Not true for Ryan Reynolds. Not true for Chris Pratt. For Jack Black, I will say this. And honestly, this thing applies to The Rock. Jack Black is at that point in his career. Like, the dude can do whatever the fuck he wants. If he's in your movie, he wants to be in your movie. You need him more than he needs you. So is he making great choices? As in, is he signing up for movies that, like, yeah, of course Jack Black signed up for this movie because look at the movie, look at the script. It's so... No, he's not signing up because of that. He's signing up because it sounds fun. Have you seen that stupid trailer for that film, Dear Santa, where the kid is dyslexic, so he writes to Satan instead of Santa? Stupidest shit you've ever heard. Does it look like a fun? Yeah, it does. And you see the trailer, and Jack Black is playing Satan, and he's having a fucking blast. He's having the time of his life, and I'm having the time of my life watching him have the time of his life, because you know what? Happiness and good times are infectious. So I say this term is I like the term the four horsemen of film. I wouldn't put it to actors because look, man, an actor or several actors, if a movie's good, if the director is good, if a script is good, the actors are not going to make it suck. If they make it suck, you know what's going to happen? They're going to get fired and other actors are going to get hired. So it's a combination of a lot of variables, but I don't think even Kevin Hart and Gal Gadot, which I agreed with, I don't think we give them that term. All right. That means you Scott, the Last Jedi or Logan. That is a tough choice, sir. I have never pitted these two against each other. So this is not something I've thought about. Right now, I'm gonna go with right now, I'm gonna go with Logan. If you ask me any other day, if you ask me next week, the answer might change. But right now, I'm gonna go with Logan. Andrew C., will you be reviewing Anora and Emilia Perez? Emilia Perez, no, because it's out and it's a Netflix film. So everyone has just seen it at home if they're going to watch it. It's a wild fucking movie, though. So I would have interesting things to say about it, but the algorithm is not going to like it, and the algorithm is going to hurt me in the long run if I do a review for it. Anora, for sure. I need to do a review for Anora. Jacob P, have you watched Arcane and are you excited for season 2? No and no. I've not watched Arcane. I know that season 2 is out at the moment. It came out yesterday, I think. Yeah, because today is Saturday. And tomorrow I'm off, so I'm going to be watching Paddington in Peru. And recording my review of Gladiator 2 for Monday. Because the embargo lifts dead. I'm very excited to watch Paddington 2. I need reasons to smile. If anything, you guys should be getting Paddington in Peru, Paddington 3, not Paddington 2, because everyone needs reasons to smile right now, and Paddington is the best reason to smile. But no, I've not seen Arcane Season 2. I am considering giving it a shot eventually. It's just not on top of my priority list. So, Luis Luciano, Ren, I know it'll never happen, but just for fun, with a new Chris Nolan movie adding Tom Holland, Zendaya, and now Anne Hathaway, what are the chances this movie is a multiverse movie? This movie's a multiverse movie, and we see Peter and MJ travel to the Baleverse. What are your thoughts in general on the new Chris Nolan movie, and what do you think the movie will be about? There is no chance it's a multiverse movie. Look, would I kind of love to see that? I'm not gonna say no, Luis. You know I'm a superhero guy, but this movie's not Disney, nor is it even Warner Brothers. It's Universal, so obviously Peter, because it's not Disney, Peter and MJ can show up in that, but the Baleverse couldn't show up in this new movie because it's not Warner Brothers. But God, what an idea! And if someone could pull it off, it is Chrissy Nolan. My thoughts I have no thoughts in general beyond I'm fucking excited because it's Christopher Nolan. He's my favorite director of all time. I need to rewatch Oppenheimer because that's been a while, and again, my dad has also not seen it. So after I watch it, I show him The Batman. I can also show him Oppenheimer. I'm just excited. Like Christopher Nolan, Denis Villeneuve, Damien Chazelle, my best friend Damien Chazelle, Edgar Wright, Steven Spielberg. These are like directors that I'm in. Like, you're doing something, I'm in. I don't care what that something is. Let me know in time, but like, I will be there day one. I am excited. What do I think the movie will be about? I still have no idea. I heard about the World War II thing. I heard about the time travel. I heard about the helicopter idea, which again, like I said last week, just title it The Helicopter Idea. It's the greatest title for a movie of all time. I heard about the horror movie. I heard about the vampire movie, and the vampire and the horror are described sometimes as two specific films, because I've seen reports where it's supposedly a horror movie about vampires, but then I've heard it's supposedly a horror movie, but we don't know what it is about. But it could also be this other idea about vampires. So sometimes they're described as different things. And yes, if it's a vampire movie, it doesn't necessarily mean it's horror. But I'm just excited because it's Chris Nolan, baby. He's gonna do a good job. All right. I missed one right below that from Andrew Seif. Do you think we will ever get a Scarlet Witch solo film? Whenever I get asked about will we ever get this MCU movie or that MCU movie, I think I'm the most terrible person at answering these because I think way too much about it. I think way too logically about it. And to me, even take out the fact that Scarlet Witch is dead in the MCU. Yeah, she can come back for Secret Wars. Would you make a Scarlet Witch movie before Secret Wars? Like, where does that fit? And after Secret Wars, do you make a Scarlet Witch movie after that? And if you do it after that, do you want it to be one of the first movies after that? Do you want to wait a little bit? Because how long are you going to wait? But number two, do you want one of your first movies after this universe-changing event to be, oh, it's the Scarlet Witch. It's one of the characters that you know from before. And now instead of a show that kicked off the phase after the last universe-changing event in Endgame, do we want to do so? I don't see how it is done. Not to say, do I see Scarlet Witch never coming back to the MCU? No. I think there's a good chance she comes in Doomsday, or she comes back in Secret Wars, and even sticks around after that and is a part of the Avengers or whatever, even or the X-Men, who knows. But I don't think we get a Solo, like we go to the cinema and we ask for a ticket for the Scarlet Witch movie. I don't think we get that, because I just don't see where that fits with the rest of the universe, where in one hand it feels like we're walking back, on the other it's just very strange to want to move forward with Scarlet Witch as one of your leads in 2027 or 2028, 2020, 2030, 2030. All right. Jacoby P, I don't know if you've given your thoughts on it, but thoughts on the Fallout series on Amazon and them just casting Macaulay Culkin for season 2. I have seen Fallout. I watched Fallout during the hiatus of the show when I was without internet. Oh, how did you watch the show if you were without internet? I went to the pub I work at. I downloaded shows and movies to watch at home, and I came home to watch those movies and shows. I liked Fallout. Wasn't in love with it. Silo is the superior. People are in a bunker believing the rest of the earth is toxic show. Fallout is a good show, though. It is a good show. I've never played the games, so I don't know who Macaulay Culkin would be playing. I have no theories, or again, because I didn't love the show, I'm also not like, who is he gonna play? And I want to find out more about the games and this world. Not like that. It's a show I enjoy. Then whenever the season 2 comes out, I'll watch it. Fun. I think there's a lot of fun you can have with Macaulay Culkin, because he hasn't been in a mainstream kind of show or movie and I'm speculating that it would be a meaty role. He hasn't been in this kind of spotlight as an adult after dealing with all the shit that he has dealt with and growing from it. And good to see he's doing well and he's getting back into acting. I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see Macaulay Culkin as a grown-up actor and see what he does in this. So it definitely caught my eye when I saw the announcement. All right. Thoughts on Game of Thrones movie supposedly being in development? I think it could work if it's an epilogue to the series, maybe like what they were going to do with the now shelved Jon Snow series, but as a film. I think if you are going to do a film that is an epilogue to the series, it's a big mistake. The show ended in 2019, 5 years ago. When this movie comes out, it's going to be 8 years, maybe 10 years ago that the show ended. It's a bad idea to do the film as an epilogue. Do something else. Do something completely detached that winks, that tips the hat to what Game of Thrones is. But I think it's a mistake to carry from it. I wouldn't do it as the Jon. If you want to do a Jon Snow thing, I think you can do a Jon Snow thing, and you do a Jon Snow thing 20 years or 25 years, something like that, after the Song of Ice and Fire. And he's been living in the wilderness, and he now has a wife and kids, and something happens, and now summer is coming, whatever. I think you can focus it on characters from the show, but you don't use the story to be an epilogue for something that ended so long ago. You want to do a movie that's an epilogue that has to come out 2-3 years at a push after the original story ended. All right. Only 2 more questions. So let's see. I just refreshed. And do we have more? Yes, we have more. So we got 4 more. All right. Eric Thorpe, do you think the unfortunate results of the... We're going to avoid mentioning those words, but I am reading the question. make The Apprentice more or less likely to get Oscar attention? Does not change its chances. Having seen The Apprentice, I don't know if it's out in the US. Like, I am completely unaware of most of the films that I watched at LFF, what their release date is. I know The Wild Robot is out because it's out over here as well. Anora is not out here, so I'm pretty sure it should be out there. But yeah, The Apprentice, I have no idea. I don't think it changes its chances at all. I will tell you, The Apprentice is quite a good film. It has some kinks that it needs to that it needed to work on, but it's quite a good film. It's fairer than I expected going in too. But regardless of where you stand, I don't think it's that good of a film to win Oscars in any at most. I could see Jeremy Strong maybe getting nominated as Roy Cohn, but even Sebastian Stan, that's not even his best performance of the year. I just saw A Different Man, which I forgot to include in my weekly ranking. A Different Man is a really fucking good movie, guys. He's incredible in that. He's really fucking good in The Apprentice too, by the way. Not to say he's bad in The Apprentice. He's really, really good. But even when I watched The Apprentice, I was like, yeah, I really enjoy that. Does it deserve Oscar nominations for anything? Nah, I don't think so. I didn't see anything in it that would deserve Oscars. So I just don't think it impacts its chances anyway. Either way, not anyway. All right. Oh, and we have a super chat from Tony Movie Chappie. Thank you so much. He says, Ren, while Simon has proven himself to be a good writer in the past, but if Kathleen Kennedy is involved, then I have no faith in it, just with the mismanagement she's done with Star Wars to wear it dirt. I don't quite get that last bit, Tony Movie Chappie. I don't blame Kathleen Kennedy. I blame Kathleen Kennedy for her mismanagement, but everything good that has happened with Star Wars is also on Kathleen Kennedy. So she deserves the blame for whatever went wrong. She is the head of Lucasfilm. So whatever went wrong, she deserves the blame. She also deserves the praise for everything good that she did, like Ahsoka, like 2 great seasons of Mandalorian, like Andor, and now season 2 is coming out, like The Force Awakens, like The Last Jedi. Yes, you heard me. The Last Jedi is fucking great, guys. Like Clone Wars, the final season, like Tales of the Jedi, like Visions, like Tales of the Empire. So many good things that she's done. Bad things that she's done too. But now those 3 promising projects, they're still coming. So until we see that, and again, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not excited at the moment for this Kinberg Star Wars trilogy, episodes 10 through 12. But there are good reasons. There are reasons we can believe it can work out. There are reasons for us to believe it may not work out. So you're very right in pointing out that Kathleen Kennedy has done a lot of mismanaging, but she's also done quite a lot of great managing. It's fair to blame her for the mistakes she's made along the way, but if you want to blame her, which is fair, it's only fair that you praise for the good things that she's done for the company, for the brand, and delivered to us, the fans. Look at what Star Wars Celebration has become. That's only because of Kathleen Kennedy. Look at Hayden Christensen being embraced by the fan base and everyone, despite their general thoughts on Obi-Wan, freaking loving seeing him in it. That's Kathleen Kennedy. She has done a job that has been flawed. Look at Kevin Feige. He was flawless for the first 10 years of running Marvel Studios. And since the last few years, people have gone up and down, and it's not quite the pristine, crackless little piece of china that it used to be. But are you going to say Kevin Feige, he's a hack, he's only mismanaged? No, because he's done so much good for it. So, fair to blame Kathleen Kennedy, but let's make sure we praise the great things she has done as well. Luis Feliciano, with the Penguin finale tomorrow, who do you think will be the villain for the Batman Part 2? Now, I don't know if this is just by association, but like I said, I've only seen the first episode of the Penguin. I'm loving it. Don't get me wrong. I love the first episode. I just have not had time to caught up. And it's one of the shows like I want to pay 1,000% of attention to this when I watch it. So I don't know if the show is going to lead us or is going to lead us in the direction of a certain character or introduce us to a certain character that will be the villain in Part 2. I know Matt Reeves has spoken about like whatever happens in the finale leads us directly into the Batman Part 2. I still think it's going to be Mr. Freeze or Clayface. And those are the two I really want to see, because those are the two fantastical ones that I can see Matt Reeves working with and fitting into his world. So those are my only theories right now. Those are the only two that I'm seeing showing up in that. All right. Last two questions. Eric Thorpe reviews. Are we actually starved for Star Wars, or are we just conditioned over the past decade to expect too much of it? We have gone much longer without it in the pre-Disney eras. Yeah, and it sucked. I was there. I lived through the dark times. I don't want to go years and decades without Star Wars. It's not expecting too much. If you have a movie franchise, you keep on doing them as long as it's doing well, of course. And if it's not doing well, you adjust your direction. You change the oil in your car. You change the tires. You change the rear view mirrors. You change this. Like, you adjust to deliver something that lives up to the name of the brand, the prestige of your brand. I am starved for I'm starved for good Star Wars. I'm starved for Star Wars on the big screen because I miss it. Star Wars were events. Star Wars were the original franchise. Forget the original blockbuster. Star Wars is the original. Oh, you have Dirty Harry. Oh, you have Jaws. Oh, you have the spaghetti. It's fucking Star Wars. The modern understanding of what a franchise is, Star Wars started it. So yeah, we are starved for Star Wars because Star Wars it crosses generations at this point. Not even Marvel is there yet. Maybe it crosses 2 generations at this point with Marvel, but like Star Wars has been here since the 70s. You can go watch it with your dad, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, if you're lucky enough for him to be alive yet. They all will know Star Wars because they were all fucking there. And depending on what your age is, maybe you now have a son, maybe that son or daughter, and your mother and your grandmother and your great-grandmother. Every family knows what Star Wars is because every member of your family has been alive for the release of one Star Wars trilogy, at least. So, yeah, we need Star Wars. All right. Final question. I just refreshed to check if we have. What are your thoughts on the animated DC movie Dynamic Duo that was announced featuring Dick Grayson and Jason Todd? I'm not excited for it. I think this is an idea that you do after establishing your Robin and your Red Hood. I don't have any interest in seeing these two working together, especially when the description they gave for the characters are so different from who these characters are. Why are we trying to reinvent the wheel before we invent the wheel properly as it is in the first place. I don't want to see this deconstruction or alternate version, whatever you want to call it, of Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. I want to see the quintessential Jason Todd. I want to see the quintessential Dick Grayson. It's like um, with the Green Lantern show. Kyle Chandler, incredible actor. As Hal Jordan, great choice. But I wish we had a definitive version of cocky, asshole, kind of runs his mouth a little bit too much, young asshole Hal Jordan. I don't want to see a Hal Jordan that is on his way out and already mentoring a Jon Stewart. I want Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan to work together as peers, because that's what they are. And I have the same problem with this. I don't think the reinvention of it all works because we haven't invented the character in the first place. So it just feels backwards to announce a project like this when we haven't even defined who the characters are on the mainstream, on the big screen. Yeah. In the comics, we know who they are. We can go read it, but they don't have a definitive, the quintessential movie version of these characters yet. And so to me, it's more of a bummer than anything else. Maybe I'll go watch it and I'll come out going, yeah, you know what? That was freaking great. Yeah, I love that movie. One of the best DC movies ever. I hope that happens, but as per the description they gave, I'm not that interested, honestly. All right, let me check if we got any more questions. Otherwise, we're gonna end the show here. And that's it. That's our final question for today. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this solo show. I appreciate you very much. We'll be back next week. We're starting at the same time we started today. I believe Zach may be able to come in next week. I'm not sure. But if he does, because of the early hour, because I have to go work later, just like I have to today, Zach will only come in on the hour mark of the show. But we'll run through everything through our main topic, whatever that ends up being. Maybe it's Gladiator 2, because, it reflects so much of what is going on today in our world, for better or worse. Definitely for worse. But I cannot wait to see you there. I cannot wait to finally bring you all the reviews that I've promised, and I have failed throughout this week, and I'm sorry. There was a good reason. I had reasons why I couldn't do it this week. I promise reviews are coming. Many reviews are coming. Perhaps too many that I can work on myself. But I will do it because you guys deserve it. And I miss talking movies with you. So until next week, love each other and love the movies. Bye-bye, everybody. See you later.